Greetings and welcome to Die Dragon Die presents Enter the Dungeon, Episode 3. I'm your demon host, Marty, joined by the full Ontario crew in Ontario in person. Ahmed, Adam, and Mark, how is everyone doing this fine Sunday morning?
Excellent. I threw some food in, had a shower, feeling human. Human's good.
Still digesting yesterday's food.
We're still digesting yesterday's food, okay. Yeah, we've eaten like kings, I think, the last few days.
I have donuts, so I'm happy.
It's a kingly treat. Alright, we are on episode 3 of our mini-campaign exploring the Pathfinder 2 rules. In the campaign we're calling Enter the Dungeon. And we did character summaries yesterday, as well as 2 sessions with a break in the between. Our first session was called Possum Pie. The second one was called Dinner for Wolves. It's almost like the session names are trying to predict what happens in the next session.
Oh no!
Let's do a quick recap of what has happened. Feel free to fill in any details. So in Possum Pie, Kreiger sends message to Bone Crusher at the Sanitarium of St. Solars, explaining that Shadow is missing. The elders of the Sanitarium ask Darian, a newly minted paladin, to deliver a message to the Baron's son at Bone Sparrow Manor. Alker is asked to assist, having finished reading all the books in the library.
Except for this forbidden section. Read 10,000 books and you hide 5 from me? What is this nonsense?
It's good to have goals. The trio encounter a mad wizard and resident of the sanitarium who speaks of fungi and a beautiful lady. The trio travels to Sparrow Village and meet Kreiger there before heading to the Bone Sparrow Manor, historic seat of the Baron of Dyre Sylvan. Dinner for Wolves. Ptolemy and Oskar convince Kreiger, Darian, Alker, and Bone Crusher to play Exterminator at the Bone Sparrow Manor. They reclaim Ptolemy's grandfather's belongings and his carriage, and take a quick visit to the hamlet of Sparrow to get horses. The group travels down the Old Forest Road through the Dyre Sylvan Wood in search of Bone Crusher's brother, Shadow.
That's Shadow's laugh.
Much falling in.
That's his description. That's Shadow's laugh. That's
Okay, we're going to rewind a little bit. This goes to the deep of winter, when Shadow was on the trail of what he believed to be the rebel prince. So Shadow, with his snowshoes, is heading down this trail, several wolf pelts kind of like hanging off of him as he's killed wolves along the way, and you're pretty sure that it was a big wolf, and you set one of your, we'll say you've got a bear trap.
yeah.
I don't know what that does, but that'll be your mission to look it up in the rules as to what a bear trap does. But you've got an old bear trap that you injured a very large wolf with, but it tore itself from the bear trap, and you've been tracking this wolf down this old road. It's a road. It was kind of obscured near where the old forest road met, but this is a road that has been grown over for maybe 100 years, but there's still a path. Some felled trees, however, would stop any carriages or wagons, and you have no problem because you've got snowshoes and it's snow. The snow is deep, high up in the mountains.
Yeah.
The name of the mountains are, geography is good. The Falsathian Mountains, or the Falsathian Foothills. They do have a solid winter season. But you are on a mission to find this rebel prince. Give me a knowledge nature.
17.
Okay. You suspect that the rebel prince is not a normal wolf. It's too smart. Shadow.
Yes.
Where are you hiding?
While it was bleeding, it it seemed to try to cover its tracks by having lots of wolves kind of surround it, and they all went off in different directions.
Tracking? Survival?
No, you managed to see that a lot of the wolves come to and fro down this old trail. The old cart trail with 100 years of growth kind of turned into little hunting trails where deer and wolves would travel down. So you know you're heading in the right direction. You've kind of like the heart of where this pack is, a pretty big pack too. You have to be careful. You've climbed a few trees.
Yeah.
And then, from trees,
Tree to tree.
Well, once you're up in a tree, you start sticking arrows into it. How many arrows did you leave on your hunt with?
So my character says 20, but I would have brought, if I'm going to go hunting,
Yep. Yep.
I would have probably brought 60 or so.
Okay, so how much money is it for each quiver?
1 silver for 10.
Okay, so subtract the silver
2 silver, yeah.
for the number of arrows. And then I'm going to get you to
Wait,
roll...
I need 60, so 4 silver.
Okay, then I'm going to get you to roll 2d10, and that's how many arrows you've used up so far to get to where this pack is.
Okay. You got more than 20.
Right.
I'm just
Got my 3 arrows.
Do you have craft
Yeah, I do.
for arrows?
Yeah. Wait, you want me to roll 2d10?
Yep. You have 3 wolf pelts. We're just kind of...
6. And 6, 12.
Okay, so you subtract 12 arrows.
Yep.
You finally get to a bit of a clearing. You've been traveling up. This trail does wind up a little bit into the foothills, and you see the following in the distance from the slight clearing from the road. There is a precariously perched castle on a cliffside. I will force you guys to this map and show it off.
This is still winter, right?
This is winter.
Okay. During my travel, can I also make arrows? Like craft?
You're hunting.
Okay. I'm tracking my prey. Oh, sweet. That's a castle.
The building to the left is kind of down on the ground, whereas the rest of the castle is built higher up on a perch, and this building in the background has been totally burnt out.
I just picture that being built, a bunch of workers going, fuck you work on that side.
I'm doing the windows on the south side.
So basically, I'm looking at it. There's just ruins
That's
down there.
destroyed.
Yep.
So is there a bridge? Or
There is a bridge that leads to the castle, and it's basically on all sides a massive cliff that goes down hundreds of feet.
Okay.
It is an island upon which a castle was built. There were some buildings around on your side, but those have all burned down. Like they've kind of like almost built a small manor, but that is completely gutted with ancient fire.
Roofing that thing with.
Mm-hmm.
I need to figure out what the climbing is like. Shadow will start looking at ways to get up there without going through the goddamn bridge.
Well, the bridge. There's lots of snow everywhere. Like there's no one snow shovels. Like there's no signs of anyone kind of passing here, and there's snow that goes right across the bridge.
There's
and
no
you,
tracks.
And you see wolf tracks going across the bridge.
Okay,
into the
okay,
castle.
yeah. Do I see big wolf tracks?
Yes.
Is the surrounding completely ice over?
What's that?
Can I climb instead of going across the bridge?
You look at the height of that, and then the iciness of it. Do you have a climber's kit?
I don't think so. Thieves' tools. Rope?
Rope might be handy.
The trap.
Oh, I have a
Likely was
climbing
a
kit.
snaring kit. Do you have a snaring kit?
No.
You know how to make snares. You need a snaring kit to make snares. It's probably the snaring kit that allows you to make the snare.
Got it.
I have no snare ability.
Okay.
No, well, no.
So survival snare ability, or
Building snares is there's a snare crafting feat.
Okay, got it.
And this is the ranger trap. But this is like all the
Okay,
trial.
so he's got basically like a resetting bear trap that he's been like fucking futzing around with. So
Okay, no, actually, I do have climbing kit.
okay, this would be an incredibly difficult climb. Whoever built the castle here
What the fuck they're doing?
knew the fuck what they were doing, and this castle is meant to keep people out.
Okay. So like,
Whatever fire happened here long ago, like you could barely see the buildings on your side of the bridge, have been burned out, and blackened timbers can be seen jutting out from the bits of snow and ice.
Okay. So when Shadow's moving, like when he knows like he's being observed or he's trying to hide something, he'll go from tree to tree. Right. He's not just like crawling out in the middle of nowhere.
Well, yeah. Right now you're at the edge of the forest where it kind of overlooks the cliff.
I'm trying to look at the bridge and plan out. Okay, if at any point instead of being observed, if I'm going to be surrounded, I want to go to a spot where I can climb up and do my thing.
Got it.
Right. So that's what he's aiming at, from here to here, and he's going to go from those points to those points.
The trees are big, kind of like pines, and thick, and the clearing basically ends right about here. I'll draw sort of a road that you travel down.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, cool.
And then the bridge. Continues to about here.
Okay.
There's the cliff face.
Did you find the trap yet or not?
What I was describing is that type of trap no longer exists. It's now snares, and you make snares, and you can't buy snares.
Okay,
You
so
have to-
maybe just a...
It's like a spell component now.
So maybe it's an effect, like it would just be a snare.
It's like it would be a snare. Yeah, there's a snapping snare.
Yeah. That's...
We've got the mechanics for it.
Okay.
You have a resetting snapping snare.
Okay, so that's the cliff
And then
edge.
there's some burnt out, like, gatehouse on this side. Like there are ruins here. And kind of ruins here. Like there were kind of crumbling buildings that got burned out or attack or fire. There's obvious signs of damage.
I'm gonna pick a spot that I could move into. So if I look across the bridge into that area where the like the gate would be.
Yep, there's probably a courtyard or a little gatehouse.
Is there a gate there?
The gate is open.
It's open. Okay.
There's a portcullis and probably two doors behind the portcullis that kind of like would close like this. But it is open, and you can kind of hear actually wolves like play fighting or growling, pecking order kind of things going on.
Okay.
And it's echoing in the castle, so it's like there are wolves just over here, and you get the sense that there might be a den by the amount of scat and the variation in the size of the paw prints in the snow.
Okay. I've been observing wolves. I'm
Yes.
gonna see when. I'm gonna wait for a day.
Yep.
Or 2 days, and observe how often, when they go, when they come, and find the time when there's least amount of traffic and go across.
Okay.
Kind of count how many there are.
Give me a stealth check.
Okay. It's 18.
18 total.
Yep.
Okay, and then give me a survival.
Okay. 17.
So are you doing this in the vicinity or not?
I'll be like I'll be climbing up one of the trees.
Okay.
Downwind. Unless the wind is blowing into the castle from where I am, then it's
That's
not
my
going to work.
drawing across, so you're kind of going downwind. and you're trying to hide from the wolves. All right, so you take an uncomfortable spot up in a tree, and you just start to wait. And eventually, you do see wolves coming and going. It is late one evening. You've got dark vision.
Yeah.
You were sort of nodding off a bit in your little tree.
Yeah, I kind of like tie myself into the branch.
When you heard when you heard wolves calling, and it just appears to be one of those nights where the wind isn't high, where it's not snowing, it's crisp, the moon is. The light from the moon is good, and
can the wolves see in the dark? From what I know,
you're pretty sure that they could see the animals have better sight in the dark than people do.
but can they see in the dark like I can? Because I would be in an area where I could see them and they couldn't see me. That's kind of what.
Got it. That's what you think.
Can I get under a good canopy so that there's zero light above me?
Yep, you're in a big ass tree. It's covered in snow. You carefully climbed up top of it, and you do hear a pack leaving by moonlight.
Okay. Is there a big wolf?
There are 3 big wolves, with the size of horses.
And the one that I had injured before was about that size.
Was one of them.
Was one of them. So that's,
There's one that is midnight black in fur and definitely the rebel prince. And he's got 2 lieutenants.
he's recovered.
There's something about the rebel prince that scares you a bit. When they kind of left, so there's him, 2 lieutenants, and maybe about a dozen wolves.
Okay.
When you snuck back down and had a look, you can't find the rebel prince's tracks. You find the tracks of the 2 big ones, which you realize is the dire wolves that you've been chasing.
Yeah. But not his.
Okay. Something startles you a little bit as you see a little bit of light in the castle. Like through one of the windows, you actually saw like a silhouette, and maybe there's like a fire inside, like a fireplace fire.
Okay, so now is probably a good time. Shadow's gonna go across.
Okay. So you scurry across after looking for like tracks, and you're like, oh shit.
Shadow's probably thinking this thing is enchanted somehow.
Oh, this is a wolf's den. By the smell of it, by the
Number of bones.
Yep. There's actually, you wouldn't take pups hunting with you, would you?
Shadow wouldn't kill those.
Okay, you actually see a couple of pups in a...
There's probably
Den?
there's probably a way to get through the.
Oh yeah, you can continue on, but there's lots of bones and fur and matted fur. And...
I'll try to actually go through the castle itself. Like there's doors that are closed. We'll try to unlock those doors and go through the
Okay,
castle
so you
itself.
go down to where the wolves maybe might use as a peeing area, and as you're entering the wolf's den...
Arrows at the ready.
It's not very often that we get visitors.
What the hell are you? Oh wait, sorry, hold on.
What the hell are you? I'm just a lowly servant of the master. There were people. Lowly servant of the master. There were people here. Not as many as there once was. Who might you be, child of darkness? You have no idea. I'm Shadow. I'm seeking the rebel prince. Hunting the master's dog, are you? Very interesting. You will not be pleased with your efforts.
Hunting.
Do come in and warm yourself by the fire.
Very well. Stop putting his shit
You
away.
can hear a little bit of movement and what sounds like a bunch of bats, like shadow goes in, and there's an ancient hall. A bunch of old leaves have scattered in here from a different season, and it's like dark, creepy, empty. There's old banners on the walls that's moth-eaten, suggesting a glory in a time long ago. You get down the hall a little bit towards where you see there's a room where the obvious glow of the fire is, and then the door closes behind you.
Shadow's not intimidated.
What's that?
Shadow's not intimidated. It's like this. Shadow likes this.
Yeah,
All right, there's
get used to this.
an old great hall with this massive fireplace. It's almost like a fireplace you could walk into. Weird gargoyles overlooking the fireplace, and there's sort of a hunchback man that's sort of just poking at it with a fire poker. There's Mr. Gibson. He looks old, crotchety, and elven.
Gee,
Okay.
nice looking.
For the record,
Knowledge.
Yeah.
for the record, if we level up before we meet this guy, I was gonna take the undead slaying power, second level power.
We were told we didn't know that it might be haunted, this castle.
Come closer to the fire. You must be so cold. I'm fine.
Okay, he sort of hobbles away from the fire and
I'm
gives you
I'm
space.
scanning the room.
Yep. Oh, you scan the room. The room's full of bats and rats.
Okay, perception check on him.
Sure.
Like, what are you eating?
Perception check to see what he's eating.
Or what? Like, no, like what is up with you?
I guess it would be like-
Yes.
You're trying to figure out what he is.
Well, yeah. What's
Cups.
going on with you?
Okay.
Are you hunched because of muscle or bone problems?
And you're trying to determine what kind of creature he is.
It's-
What?
So I have nature,
Sure, give me a nature.
survival. 9.
Okay. He's just a really, really old man. Spry, though.
How do you get your food? Why don't the wolves take you? As I said before, the Rebel Prince is my master's pet.
Boo!
You've never asked.
I was receiving a sending. And you're here to hunt him. There's plenty of food around here if you look hard enough. Rats, bats, bugs, and other things. It is not a life that most servants would desire, but I am loyal to my master. Who is your master? The owner of this castle.
Does Shadow know this castle?
He is the Baron of Dyre Sylvan. It's been a long time. A long time. You mean the Baron's child's child? No, not the pretenders. Not the devil worshippers.
Shadow puts his arrow away.
Okay.
Tell me more. Sit. I shall find something.
kind of like backs away slowly into the darkness. Yeah.
Shadow's amused and kind of impressed.
Okay. Give me a perception check.
Yeah. He's looking for like doors and windows. Like, could someone shoot me from here?
No, this place is solidly built. The windows are covered with all sorts of like paint and then hidden behind tapestries. It was just a window in this one room that was exposed to the outside, almost like he was inviting you with the fire that he set. The wood was cut
Fresh.
30 years ago, if not more.
Oh. 13 perception.
13 perception? Okay, you don't notice him climbing the wall to get out of the room.
You got this. We'll get him.
Woo! First level shadow.
Okay. A short while, you just sit by the fire for a while, or are you looking around?
I'm gonna look around.
Okay, you go up to the door. Like, if you check around this room, it's a big empty hall. Might have been furniture in it. It's an old wood pile beside the fireplace. There's like a bunch of fire pokers. The room's pretty empty. The windows are fucking siege quality, like solid. They're not meant to be opened. There is just a big chair, almost like it was the chair at the head of the table when there was a table in this room. The chair is old, threadbare, but the backing is a very solid, polished black oak. It's got all sorts of like weird, ghoulish, kind of almost gargoyle-y, like kind of claws on the side, and a strange sort of like the screen kind of face kind of on the backboard of it, and it's pretty
Impressive.
It's pretty impressive. You need to replace the cushion. When you finally go around to the heavy door,
The one I came from?
the one you came from into this room, the iron reinforced heavy door, it does not budge open.
Interesting. At least there's plenty of food.
Then you can see out the window. You're now kind of looking out the window, and you can see the old man not really walking across. It's not quite the bridge, but you can see kind of down into here a little bit. He's actually on the outside of the building, crawling like a spider. He goes up into this tower. There's a horrible wrenching sound. And you see part of the bridge.
Okay. Starting to look at the door to see how can you unlock this door. Just these tools.
Okay, so you get your thieves' tools. Okay, it requires four checks at DC 25 to unlock.
Whee! And what's the skill to do this? Thievery?
Yeah.
So I need 18 or more. 85% of the time I will fail.
Got it.
4 consecutive? Like, tick, 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 or can I fail a couple times and then continue?
So effectively, what happens is Shadow's invited to stay for the winter.
Invited, or
That's how
invited?
Bram Stoker's Dracula. You're in for a fun time.
Good times. There's a lot of bats and snacks. There's a lot of snacks.
Shadow's like, I think in the spring, when it's not icy, I might be able to try climbing down. You end up living on rats and bats, and occasionally the voice of the creature that invited you in will say something to the fact of,
Don't worry, the master will be home soon, anytime now.
Great. Shadow will keep drawing at the door.
Yeah, okay. Eventually you break all of your picks.
Oh, they're breaking my... They're picks
Yeah,
breaking.
that's what happens.
I stop after I break 2 picks.
Okay.
Like, nope. Okay, how high is the ceiling to the window?
Yeah, you can climb up to the window. You're actually a sport at this point in time.
I tie my rope so it's easy for me to come up and down.
Okay. So you've basically, you live in this room now.
That's Monte Cristo.
the iron reinforced lead glass. You're like, come on!
If I don't have anything else to do, I'm actually going to make more arrows from whatever's around.
Ready for you.
Okay. If you can help him out with the crafting, you might need a crafting kit, which you
I
may
have.
Okay.
Wait. Hold on. Clone could be tools. No, I don't have a crafting kit.
Well, let's see what we can do without one. Crafting.
I don't think you can. There's a lot of shit like.
Repair requires a repair kit. Earn income by crafting.
But basically, yeah. Shut us down. Okay. This ain't so bad. This rat's nice and fat.
Oh, it's lean eating though. You're hunting rats that you hope come into the room through weird little
I'm
drains.
trapping. Well, what I do, I'm trapping one, like I'm injuring it, so it sounds like it's dying and it's easy picking. While others come in, pick those up.
I can just quickly look at the starvation rules.
Nothing could have gone wrong with this plan.
So now that we've done Shadow's backstory,
Your boon is patience.
Who gets the extra?
yes, now that it has no effect on Shadow's current situation, for Ahmed being a good sport, I'm going to award him the extra hero point for today. Now, hero points, do they go away between sessions and I have to keep on doling them out, or do they accumulate?
Do I pick the character it goes to?
Yes.
It goes to Crusher.
Crusher, okay.
467. Crusher also got his ass just beat last game, so.
One's got more.
Well, the first fight was like Crusher punches it, it dies.
Second fight, Crusher can't stand up.
That was the third fight.
Yeah, third fight.
Second fight, Crusher couldn't hit nothing.
Yeah.
Third fight was Crusher is like in a Benny Hill thing.
Right.
Yeah, the heels are-
Okay, usually a character gets 1 hero point at the start of each session and can gain more by performing heroic deeds, something selfless, daring, or beyond normal expectations. You can have a maximum of 3 hero points at a time, and you lose any remaining hero points at the end of the session.
There we go.
So basically, use them or lose them.
Use them or lose them.
1 hero point, re-roll a check.
All hero points, don't die.
Spend all hero points, minimum 1, to avoid death.
That's a good one.
Yes. Okay, so Bone Crusher starts out with 2, Shadow technically has 1, and everyone else has 1 hero point.
So you can't downtime craft without the kit. You might be able to just like craft.
No, downtime is the time when you do crafting.
Well, then it says you need a kit or appropriate space.
Could I have bought one since I am a crafter? No.
At minimum, you should have bought a repair kit so you can fix your bow.
Typically, hunters that go out into the hunt don't bring their gear with them to make their shit.
But they usually come home.
It's not 6 months later, 6 months later.
Oh yeah, I wanted to look up starvation rules.
So your repair kit, the thing that you're going to want to think about getting is a repair kit. It uses 1 bulk and it costs 2 gold pieces.
Okay, so a repair kit.
And
I
then,
need a crafting kit.
yeah, that's 4 gold pieces, 2 bulk.
Hold on. So crafting is 4 gold and 2 bulk?
Yeah.
Okay, so I gotta write this down.
I'll see if there's something cheaper.
Crafting.
But
4 gold,
oh, you also need to get a book.
2 bulk.
You have to write down arrow. Pointy page goes in that guy. I forgot about that. My crafter doesn't have a crafting book.
stay, and then I need a repair kit. 2 gold and 1 bulk?
Yes.
Repair kit. I can't afford these things.
Correct. Don't worry. When we save you, we'll have already spent all the money.
Okay. Give me a survival check for Shadow.
Okay. Natural 1. I'm gonna spend a hero point to re-roll that shit.
Yeah.
Natural 5.
Okay.
9.
9. Okay. So Shadow hasn't eaten in days by the time you find him. And for each day that you don't eat, you take 1 damage that can't be healed until you have had sustenance.
For
Each day.
how many months were you?
Shadow is down 7 hit points
Okay, so
when the party comes across it.
-7 off top. Okay.
My legs are really sore. I know I'm riding in the wagon, but perhaps we should, take a couple days. Eat, stretch.
Yeah, let's go to the forest road. So you guys had collected up your horses. Alcur spent a little bit of healing up one of the horses that got nipped.
Yeah, Alcur attempts to heal. No, Alcur's out of healing. You don't.
Okay.
You don't get it.
Never mind.
Alcur will attempt a medicine check on the treat wounds check on the horse.
Okay.
Or
You get your hit points back at night, right? When you sleep? Well,
I don't know how many it gets back. We don't want the bleeding horse in the nature forest with the stuff. Somebody's touched my dice. That's right.
Raging strongman, bad.
So I treat wounds. That's what I would like to do. Spend 10 minutes treating the wounds.
Do you have the skill?
I do have the skill. No, yes I do. I'm trained. It is medicine check DC 15. Okay. So Alcur is treating the wounds of the horse with his medicine. He gets a 19. That is usually considered good. The GM can say this is normal horse bite. Okay. So it's a success. If it has the wounded condition goes away and it gets 13 hit points back.
Holy crap. Okay, yeah, it had 4 damage from the...
I bandage it.
You
And I
bandage
speak
it.
the sweet elvish nothings.
Yep. Alright, the horses have a pleasant night on the side of the road. Next morning, there's sort of a light rain and a bit of a fog. Who's the guy with the Dyre Survival in the group?
It's probably this guy.
Oscar, I think.
I have a +3, so.
You.
I got a +5.
Oscar also has a +5.
So
We'll
we'll help each other.
We'll help. Teamwork.
Alright, so both Oskar and Kreiger do notice that where the injured wolf fucked off, it seemed to be kind of a depression in the land a little bit. And it seemed to be a very long depression in the land with a lot of overgrowth. But you think the wolf inadvertently showed you an ancient road that the forest has not quite taken.
You think
That's a hunting trail.
that might be an old road even?
The underbrush is small enough that you might be able to just ride the carriage through. It might start to get rough as the forest, you do know, takes over.
I think it's worth a look.
I think we need to take this bitch off road.
Back that thing up!
I'm right here.
What are you doing with the wolf carcasses? Now, Kreiger hit at least 3 or 4 of them with ridiculous amounts of damage. He's ruined those pelts.
Are we skinned?
But there's still about 5 of them.
We're not. No. Got him over here. Sonny, let me show you the ways.
Is this Oskar going, you can still sell this much?
Exactly. We're skinning them. Yeah, that one, front half no good, back half no good. But this piece right here.
Keeping the wolf meat, keeping the wolf paws, keeping the...
the teeth.
Alright, so how long are you spending? This is probably like a day's work to skin and like squeeze every copper out of the 5 wolves that are hunt worthy and 3 destroyed carcasses.
Crusher is actually going to the one with the arrow in it.
Are we under any time pressure? I don't know. Hurry up.
Shadow's been missing for the entire...
He's been missing for months.
Yeah.
One more day is not going to kill him.
4 hours.
Crusher's looking
Okay.
at the one that has the arrow in it.
Alright, yeah, you go over to the one with the arrow in it.